because baby, they have just testified in the courtroom. Henny is not live from the court today. Let me just let y'all know that right now. I'm not live from the court. I was supposed to be going to go handle some business this morning, but when I woke up this morning, I'm still feeling kind of sore in my back, side, and rib area. And I'm thinking it's from the coughing, because even yesterday while I was in court, I was sitting there and I wasn't coughing out loud. I was like trying to keep it on the inside. And I think that kind of like helped with making the soreness from me battling being sick over the weekend. It even worse yesterday. So I woke up this morning and it was like hurting to breathe and all of that. So I definitely bruised my ribs while I was coughing and sneezing over the weekend. Peanut butter said I was coughing that hard, so I'm not surprised. So today we are not live from the court, and we are reading from Inner City Press right here. Now, you guys, listen, I have been in the courtroom and y'all know that. And the thing that is really getting me is that the story, you're getting 3 different stories about one situation that happened, which is kind of expected because you have Kid Cudi's perspective of him being on the receiving end of a phone call telling him that Diddy has broken into the house and he's taking me captive. Then you have Capricorn Clark, who's actually on the inside knowing that everything is going on. With Diddy coming to kidnap her, put her in the car, take her over there to Kid Cudi's house. She's in the car while he's in there breaking in. You have that perspective. And then you have the LAPD officer's perspective as well. And child, let's just rewind a little bit. And let me give you Kid Cudi's version of events. Let me give you Capricorn Clark's version of events. And then we're going to get into what Officer Ignacio had to say when he was on the stand this morning. And right now, as we speak, the arson investigator is giving testimony right now. So top of the top to everybody. I see Henny Snipers up in here, uniquely the captain. Okay, she's up in here today. But yes, let's dive into this and let's talk about it. So when Kid Cudi on the stand and he testified to his home being broken into, he testified to how Capricorn Clark had made a phone call and was like, listen, and I'm paraphrasing, listen, Diddy has taken me and he had me take him to your house and he's inside breaking in your house. Him and Ruben are in there breaking things up, whatever they're doing, but they're in there right now. They're looking for Cassie. And then he said, meaning Diddy, said that he was going to unalive you when he found you. Okay, so Kid Cudi's like, oh, he heard that, is pissed off. His adrenaline is pumping. Dude is in my house. He's acting crazy right now. And I'm in a Porsche. So he probably made it there in 5 minutes or less. Anyway, so Kid Cudi flies over there to the scene and he gets there and he says that when he got there, he went inside. Nobody was there. He did not see an Escalade, no, none of that. He talked about how he called Diddy on his way to his house and was like, you in my house? And Diddy said, I'm waiting on you. So he says when he gets to his house, Diddy is nowhere to be found. He goes inside. His dog is locked in the bathroom. The Chanel boxes on the counter are all... I didn't even see what you said. Give me a second. I'll scroll up in a minute. The boxes are all strewn about from Chanel on the counter and they've been rifled through. So he leaves out. He says he jumps in his Porsche and calls Diddy. And he's like, where are you at? So he's getting ready to chase Diddy down. And then he stops and thinks about it. And he's like, nah, I don't know who's with him. I don't know what he got. Let me go ahead and call the laws. So he said he called the police at that moment. Now, the chain of events that happened, according to Capricorn Clark, she says she was at her home and Diddy came to her home, knocking on her door with what sounded like metal on metal. And then when she opened the door, he has on him a firearm. So that means that the implication of him beating on her door with the firearm is there. So he out there beating on the door with the firearm. She opens up the door because he's upset. She wants to know what's going on. Thank you for loading, Heart. I appreciate you. She wants to know what's going on. She lets him in. He's pissed. He's pissed and he wants to get to Cassie. He wants to go to Cudi's house. He's mad that Capricorn has not told him about Scott. So she's like, who's Scott? He's like, Kid Cudi's. So now Capricorn is like, oh, Cassie's friend. He's like, get dressed. Get dressed. Now, I don't want to get dressed. I don't give up what you want. Get dressed. So Capricorn goes and gets dressed, gets in the car with Diddy. Diddy has the firearm on his lap the whole time that they are driving. They pull up to Kid Cudi's house. Diddy and Rue jump out of the car, go in there, break into Diddy's house. She's sitting in the car. She calls Lauren London. She can't remember if she had Lauren London on three-way or not, but either way, a phone call was made to Lauren London, and she said she made that call because she wanted somebody to know where she was. If anything happened, she wanted somebody to know what was going down, and for it to be somebody that was in the inner circle that knew everything that was happening. So she called Lauren. We don't know if Lauren was on a three-way when she made the call to Cassie or not, because it's 12 years later. So she doesn't know what the hell happened at that point in time. But anyway, that's when she makes the call to Cassie and tells Cassie what the Diddy came and picked me up and took me, and now I'm sitting outside of Cudi's house, and Diddy and Rue are inside. Now, she says at that point, that's when she hears Kid Cudi leave out of the room. And now, according to Capricorn Clark, she's sitting in the Escalade. Diddy and Rue are outside the Escalade. Cudi pulls up in his black Porsche. And so she signals to Diddy, like, there he go right there. And he takes off in the Porsche. So he busts the U-turn, takes off in the Porsche. Now they're racing through the Hollywood Hills. Diddy is trying to catch up with Cudi. Cudi is on the move in that Porsche. And she says it's not until they hear the sirens that Diddy calms down and they stop trying to pursue Kid Cudi. That's the chain of events that we got. What are the differences between the chain of events? Well, Kid Cudi never said that he was on a wild goose chase with Diddy in the Hollywood Hills. He never said that when he pulled up, he actually saw Diddy and Ruben outside his home, nor did he testify and say that the black Escalade was outside of his gate. Capricorn Clark did. And you know what this has me thinking? This has me thinking the reason why Kid Cudi didn't say anything is because Capricorn Clark also testified to the fact that Diddy said to go back to his house. She told Capricorn Clark, go to Cudi's house and tell him, do not put my name in that paperwork. If he does, I'm going to unalive everybody. So here is today's first poll question for y'all. Did Kid Cudi not mention the Escalade outside his home because of Diddy's threat years ago? All right, I'm going to give y'all 3 options because y'all be getting on me. No third option. All right, there goes your poll. There goes your poll. Tap the poll at the bottom of the screen. Take the poll. The question is, did Kid Cudi not mention the Escalade outside of his house because of Diddy's threat made years ago? So you have yes, no, you have it sounds like it, but I don't know. Those are your options right there. Y'all tap the poll. Take the poll at the bottom of the screen. Go ahead, double tap the screen while you're at it, and let's continue. So Capricorn Clark did go to the house under the direction of Diddy after picking up Cassie, and she said they spent 2 to 2.5 hours, Cassie and Capricorn, in Kid Cudi's house after Diddy broke in, after the police have left. They are there trying to convince him not to put Diddy's name into the police report, because if he does, all of them are lights out, okay? He's going to lie made by Officer Ignacio. I believe that's how you say it, Ignacio. If I said it wrong, then y'all know exactly what I mean. But let's get into what some of his testimony is according to Inner City Press. Now, he is testifying for the prosecution and not for the defense. Oh, I have an update for y'all that I have to talk to y'all about, that I should have talked to y'all about a while ago when I first heard about this last week, but I did not because I've been so consumed with everything that has been going on. Y'all make sure y'all take the screen as I run y'all through this, okay? So Christopher Ignacio takes the stand for the prosecution, all right? And they ask him, what is a radio call? And he says, when someone calls 911 and gets sent to the next available LAPD unit on duty, right? So they asked him what shift he was working on December 22nd of 2011. And he said that he was working from the 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. shift, right? So they asked him what he remembered, and he said he got a call around 8 a.m. Now, remember, Kid Cudi said that all of this happened, and Capricorn was saying all of this happened like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. All of this was going on, but the police didn't get called a.m. So that leaves me to wonder, did Cassie and Capricorn get to the house? They had to, there's no way, because there was testimony that he called the police right after that. So is it possible? Is it possible that they thought the timing was sooner than what it was? You have to also remember, we are fighting against time right now. This event happened in 2011. We're all the way in 2025. I mean, yes, you will remember something that is traumatic that happens in your life, but sometimes people can't remember. So I'm going to give a little grace for that. But the officer testified to seeing high-end watches and purse when he got inside the house. He did testify to the fact that he did see a black Escalade outside of Scott Muscuti's house. Okay, the Escalade was outside his Hollywood Hills home, and Officer Ignacio says that he memorized the license plate, and when he ran it, it came back to bad boy. Dun, dun, dun. So now we have the police officer actually placing the Escalade, okay? The Escalade that Capricorn Clark said that she was put into and driven over to Kid Cudi's home. The Escalade is now placed there by the LAPD. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so he says that he did not stop the vehicle. He didn't question anybody in the vehicle because where Kid Cudi lived was a cul-de-sac. So people go up the cul-de-sac, make a U-turn, things of that nature. He didn't think of anything of it. He said there, he said, we didn't have a crime yet. The front was unlocked. We went in. So it sounds like when the police got there, Kid Cudi wasn't there. He was not there. When the police got there, the gate door was open, the front door was open, and the police walked in. So they didn't know if there was a crime yet or not. They got a 911 call. If I got a call from dispatch, wouldn't dispatch have said, we have a call of a break-in? So there would be a crime. Y'all take the poll down below. Did Kid Cudi not mention the Escalade in front of his home because of the threat that Diddy made years ago? Take the poll, let me know, and double tap that screen, guys. Double tap the screen. So now they say when he got inside, what did he see? That's when he says he saw high-end watches and purses, some wrapped, some unwrapped. 2 detectives showed up. When we came out, they saw the same black Escalade now driving down the hill. So then AUSA, which one is this that is questioning him? Hold on, y'all. Because y'all know I like to tell y'all who it is that's doing the questioning. Oh, man, it doesn't say. It doesn't say which one is questioning him. Oh, no. Either way, the AUSA asked him what happened after that. And he says, Mr. Muscudi arrived in a Porsche. So Kid Cudi was definitely not there when the police got there, but the door was wide open. Diddy was at the scene when this officer pulled up. He pulled up. Diddy was there in the Escalade. They ran the plates. The plates came back to bad boy. Okay? And And he said after he got inside, that's what he just testified to. After he got inside of the home, he saw the black Escalade now going down the hill. So the Escalade was going up the hill when he saw it. It now was coming down the hill when he saw it again. And after he saw the Escalade coming down the hill, that's when Kid Cudi pulled up in the black Porsche. Dun, dun, dun. I'm trying to tell you this. I'm waiting for the movie. I'm waiting for the movie. I am waiting for the movie. So was the high speed chase before or after? Before this. Apparently, when Kid Cudi called the police, he was already on a high speed chase through the Hollywood Hills with Diddy on his tail. So at that point, he decides, I'm going to call the police. Like, I'm not doing this. But when he testified, he never mentioned this. He never mentioned Diddy chasing him through the Hollywood Hills. He never mentioned pulling up to his house and seeing Diddy and Ruben and Capricorn Clark being held captive in the Escalade. Never mentioned it. We didn't find out a speed chase until Capricorn Clark hit the stage yesterday. She was up there on that witness stand telling us everything. Oh, Carletta, you missed the whole thing. Diddy found out that Cassie was sleeping with Kid Cudi. So he goes to Capricorn Clark's house because Capricorn Clark and Cassie were like this, goes to her house with a beats on the door with it. She opens the door. He asks her, why you ain't tell me about Scott? She's trying to play dumb saying, who's Scott? He says, Kid Cudi. She says, Cassie's friend. He says, get dressed. She says, I don't want to. He says, I don't give a what you want, get dressed. So she gets dressed. He takes her down to the car, puts the gun in his lap while he's driving to Kid Cudi's house and has her in the car. Diddy and his security arrive at Kid Cudi's house. Kid Cudi is not there. They had no idea if he was in there or not. The whole mission was to get to his house and that Diddy was going to unalive this man for dealing with Cassie and he was going to take Cassie, okay? So now they pull up to the house. They break in and go through his house, lock his dog in the bathroom, rifle through his Chanel packages that are on the counter. And in that moment, while they're inside, Capricorn calls Cassie and tells her that Diddy has her in the car outside of Scott's house and that he's going to unalive Scott. So now Kid Cudi hears that. Oh, he's at my house. Takes off in his Porsche and gets there. And when he pulls up to the house, he sees Diddy standing outside of the Escalade with Ruben, the security guard, and Capricorn is inside of the Escalade. Capricorn signals that that is Kid Cudi in the Porsche. Kid Cudi takes off. Diddy and them jump in the Escalade and take off after him, and they're racing Hollywood Hills. Now, Cudi never tells us this. Capricorn tells us this, but Capricorn also tells us that Diddy told her to go to his house and tell him that Diddy said, do not mention me in the police reports or I'm going to unalive everybody. So Capricorn went and picked up Cassie from the Sunset Marquee, drove her over to Cudi's house. Now her and Cassie are sitting in Kid Cudi's house and they're telling him, do not put Diddy's name in any of the police reports that's going on. These have already been there. Because that whole Hollywood Hills chase is going on, at some point, Kid Cudi called the police and the police came. And when the police came, Capricorn said that Diddy calmed down. But she never mentioned that they were at the house when the police pulled up. And she never mentioned that they drove down the hill and seen the police there when they was pulling off. She didn't mention that. So there's a lot of things that have not been mentioned. But again, this happened in 2011. So maybe some pieces of the event are just not there, but this is coming straight from this officer, coming from the police report. So now this is where we are, where he walked in and there were two detectives already in there, and Kid Cudi has pulled up after the black Escalade has pulled off again. So then the AUSA says, you ran the plate. He says, yes, it came back to bad boy. And the AUSA says, no further question. Now, Mr. Brian Steels, Cudi don't want to be labeled a snitch. Well, they're already labeling him a snitch. Young Thug and who else? West have already been calling this man a snitch for taking the stand and testifying to the chain of events that happened to him. But it's what the freak it is. Like, you broke in my house, you tried to set my car on fire. Like, at what point in time do you not understand that I have insurance that I have to take care of? Like, I've got to get police reports for insurance for my car. I've got to get police reports for the stuff that was broken into in my home. Like, what are we talking about here? So I don't have to pay for the damages that were done to the home if I'm renting it. Because we don't know if Cudi was renting that home or if that was his purchased home. I'm being respectful. I was asking a question as to why there's a lot of lives about Diddy. I had no malicious intentions. What do you mean, Marissa? Thank you. That's all I had to know. It's a hot topic right now. That's all you had to say. I didn't need all the extra stuff from Uniquely. Well, first of all, I don't know how you said it. I don't know how you said it. Why is every live I've watched talking about Diddy? Oh, because Diddy's case is going on right now, girl. You told me it's a hot topic. I'm a New York. That's all I had to know. It's deeper than just being a hot topic. Diddy is on trial right now, and all these little secret threads of what's been going on in the industry are being pulled and exposed. His trial, we are 3 weeks, 10 days into 11 days into his trial, and his trial is to last for 8 weeks. So yeah, we're reporting on it. You got to understand also, Marissa, we get a lot of trolls in here. So the first thing that we think is somebody is on timing. That's what it is. But anyway, let's continue on. So now Brian Steele is questioning Officer Ignacio, right? And he says, the first thing he says to him is, you read your partner's report. Oh, this was from 13 years ago. I said 11, so I stand corrected. 13 years ago, right? He says, the plates came back to Bad Boy. Yes. All right. This was from 13 years ago. Yes. You read your partner's report. Ignacio says, yes. So Steele says the streets, they are dead ends. He says, according to the map. So Steele says it's a beautiful neighborhood, right? A cul-de-sac. Yeah, it is. So the officer says, sure. So Steele says, you don't follow the car as it drives away, right? So Officer Ignacio says, no. So Steele says, did you see a Porsche? So now Officer Ignacio says, I don't know. You just said, okay. Steele, do you know the defendant of the kidnap? Do you know the definition of kidnapping? So now the AUSA says objection. The court sustains it. So they got to move on to the next question. Were you told the homeowner was in the house shortly before you and your partner got there? AUSA objection. The judge says overruled. So he can proceed and answer the question now. So he says the door was unlocked. That's what Brian Steele asked. The door was unlocked. So Officer Ignacio says yes. So then Steele says, there was no furniture appended, right? Meaning there was no furniture tossed around or anything like that. So Steele says there was no furniture tossed around. So Brian Steele says you called it a trespass, not a burglary, right? Because the judge says, I think sustained. So Steele says no report of theft. Ignacio says no, because nothing was stolen. And Kid Cudi even said that when he got on the stand, that nothing was stolen at all. So why would there be a report of theft? It was a break-in. It was a break-in. It wasn't a burglary. It was a break-in. High Plans Hippie, you got one more time. That's your one right there from me directly. You got one more time. My voice is crackly. I don't know what that means. What is scratchy? I've been hacking and coughing, girl. All right. So then Brian Steele cameras. And Mr. Ignacio says he saw some. Like we heard from Kid Cudi, he told us that the cameras were already turned in opposite directions, so he didn't have anything there. But I'm also told that ADP, the police department, like the security company and the police department were already on the scene, okay? He opened that man's Christmas presents when he broke in. He did, but he didn't steal anything. So it's not a burglary, but let's see what y'all are saying down here in the poll. Ooh, y'all are neck and neck. So 46% of y'all in the poll said yes to did Kid Cudi not mention the Escalade outside his home because of Diddy's threat years ago. At 46% said yes, and 46% also said sounds like it, I don't know. Only 9% of you said no. I'm gonna keep the poll up until we're ready for the next one. No, it sounds like the feds are tapping this live. Huh? I don't know what you mean. Does that sound better now? If you go in somebody's house, that's illegal entry. You are a burglar. Ah, but see, if you go in somebody's house and you don't steal anything, that's not burglary. That's trespassing. Breaking and entering and trespassing. Yeah, it's not burglary. It's not theft until you take something. So you could break in somebody's house and steal their vape and walk. That's theft. That's burglary. See? That was absolutely wrong. I agree with you. But he was in there looking for what he thought was his possession, Cassie, or breaking and entering. Right? He didn't steal his underwear, Miss Jackie. I knew it, Miss Jackie. As soon as I seen you come up in here, I knew it. I knew it. All right. So they asked about the security cameras. He said he saw some. So then he asked if Kid Cudi was he wasn't hyperventilating, right? So the officer Ignacio says no, but you know, he was tense. So Brian Steele says, did you search his pulse? Ignacio says no. Steele says it was about 8:20 a.m., not 6:30, right? Ignacio says right. So Steele says no further question, and they did redirect from the government. Did he? Crash out report. Do I sound better now? We got Jackie's spot reserved at the water table next to Crash Out, who will be next to Miss Pammy. Boom. We already got Look, we done got sophisticated. We got seating orders. So now we have just heard. How does it sound like a robot? Is that better? It's always somebody coming in here talking about my sound. Is that better? I'm good. Okay. All right. Much better. Okay. There we go. All right. All right. Good. So, what have we heard that was different? According to the police department, we heard a different version. Well, not a different version, but some things added that Capricorn Clark didn't add. Thank you for the 100 sticker. It's crazy work. Kid Cudi brings up the fact that he was there. Capricorn Clark talks about the Hollywood Hills chase. The police talk about how Diddy was there. His SUV was spotted there twice. Not once, but twice. And it confirmed Kid Cudi's home. Now, 120 votes. Let's see where y'all landed. 46% of y'all take the lead for it sounds like it, and sounds like it, I don't know. 43% said yes, with the lowest amount of people at 11% saying no. Right now, what I have is blow pop. So now let me ask y'all this. What was it? The question just went out my head. Oh God. It's okay. We can do the poll later. We could do another poll later. Now, oh, that was the poll. All right. Was Diddy in the Escalade? And there's only two answers. So for y'all that like third answers, there's only two answers. There's only two answers. There goes the poll. New poll has started. Y'all run that poll up. Double tap that screen. Come on, you guys. Y'all can get the likes up to 100. Double tap the screen. Get the likes up. I'm giving y'all some content. And I'm giving y'all stuff like I'm keeping y'all. Are y'all not entertained? All right. So, I don't know. It sounds to me like Capricorn and Kid Cudi's testimony was corroborated at the fact that there was a Bad Boy Records vehicle outside of Kid Cudi's home, and it was confirmed by the kidnapping, check. Breaking and entering, check. Okay? I would have snitched on that. You know what? Beyonce's lace front. Now, next up, the government called LA arson investigator Lance Jimenez, okay? And they placed a binder in front of him. They asked him how many fires has he investigated. He says 100 a year. Everything between mansion to dumpster fires, LA is pretty crazy. That's what he said. So this man has expertise in the area of fires. He's an arson investigator. Let me see if I could get that up here for y'all. Boom. Bloop, bloop. Okay, y'all can't really see it, but that's the LA Fire Department little badge, little thing that they got. Okay. All right. So he was the one that responded to the Hollywood Hills when the Porsche was set on fire. Now, she asked him, AUSA asked him what he observed when he got there. And he said that the roof was cut. The top of the roof was cut to the Porsche. Okay. And then the USA asked him about the inside of the Porsche, and Jimenez says there was burn patterns inside. She asked if there was any items. He said a bottle on the front seat, a handkerchief burned, a lighter on the ground. Okay. And they asked what his hypothesis was, and he said it was a Molotov cocktail. So now he gets into describing, how he thinks it got into the room. He says he thinks someone lit it and just dropped it in. And they showed photos and asked him, was it the black Porsche? He confirmed that. And then she said, what kind of bottle was used? Are y'all ready for this? Henny glasses in the chat if y'all are ready to find out what kind of bottle was used. Now, yesterday they made a big point of asking about this Jameson bottle, right? And I was like, put a pin in that because there's a reason why the defense is asking that. It turns out that's not true. There was no reason why the defense was asking about the Jameson bottle in connection to the Molotov cocktail because it was not the Jameson bottle. Dun, dun, dun. What kind of bottle was it, you guys want to know? English 800 malt liquor bottle. It was not a Hennessy bottle. I was not there, Miss Jackie. It was not a baby oil bottle. It was an old E 800 malt liquor bottle. Malt liquor. Well, dang, beauty queen, can I tell the story? She just told the story. I ain't even get to tell y'all. All right. See, this is why I like going to the courthouse. Because then y'all don't be knowing. Y'all don't be knowing. But yes, it was an old English liquor bottle with a designer type silky scarf stuffed inside. That sounds about Diddy. That sounds about right up Diddy's alley. To go and take an old English 800 malt liquor bottle and take an expensive a designer scarf, a silk expensive designer scarf, and tuck it inside of the malt liquor bottle and set the scarf on fire. Well, you can't be watching it live because there's no cameras in the courtroom. What you might be watching is inner city press. You said Ciroc. He didn't have Ciroc back then. Ciroc didn't exist. Lean Vibe says Diddy deserves our support, our love and support. So Cassie doesn't. Capricorn Clark doesn't. deserve our love and support. Kid Cudi doesn't deserve our love and support. Chef Jordan doesn't deserve our love and support. Mia, the assistant that's coming in, doesn't deserve our love and support. Oh, you said no. Well, guess what? Then you don't deserve to be in my life. Thanks for coming. Bye. See you later. Now, see, if he would have said yes, he would still be here. But you're here saying no, which means that you are trying to spread a bias virus in my life, and that's not about to happen because I'm giving y'all the facts and I'm giving y'all some fun with it. But at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is, if anybody Clark gave y'all the want to see it. Listen, I want to see Diddy be rehabilitated. I want to see him be rehabilitated. I would say that. But all of this stuff that's going on, you can't deny it. Everybody can't be lying. Not everybody can be lying. The police lying too. Anyway, let's get back into this Molotov cocktail business. All right. Like I said, malt liquor and a designer scarf fits Diddy's profile to me. So then they said there was a partial DNA profile. Was it consistent with a female contributor? So Jimenez says, I was told that. So the AUSA says, do you know what that means? So Jimenez says, no. So the AUSA says, do you know if it's possible to touch an item without leaving DNA? So now the defense says objection, and the judge says sustained. So now the AUSA says, what happened to the print cards? So Jimenez says they were destroyed in 2012. AUSA said, on whose orders? Jimenez says, someone in the LAPD. Dun, dun, dun. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Let me re-say that again. The AUSA, asked him about the DNA print being a female profile. He says, yeah, he heard that, but he doesn't know what that means. Why would he know what that means? He is an arson investigator, not a Los Angeles Police Department officer. So now I got to see what happened. I got to wait because I have somebody who's going to be telling me about, what. Wi-Fi. I just read Enigma's comment about Wi-Fi. She asked about the fingerprint card. The fingerprint card was ordered destroyed by somebody in the LAPD in 2012. Dun, dun, dun. Y'all hit that poll, hit that poll, hit that poll. Hit the poll, because we got another poll to throw. We should be throwing the next poll by now. There's more than enough people to get that up here. Get it up, get it up, get it. Come on, y'all. Tap that poll and hit that poll. Was Diddy in the Escalade? Was Diddy in the Escalade is the poll, but we about to end that poll in a few minutes because I'm about to let y'all know. I'm about to throw another poll up there. So AUSA said not anyone on your team. So Agnifio, that's what people are calling him, Agnifio. And I'm hearing Agnifilio. I don't know, but Agnifilio, that's what we've been calling him anyway. He throws an objection out there, of course, because he says, I'm going to object to all of this. Can we sidebar? The judge says, okay. So they went for a very long sidebar. And he's objecting to all of the arson investigators' testimony. He does some type of testimony that brings up some type of suspicion that raises your eyebrow or makes you side eye. It's objection. I'm gonna move the strike from the record. Bruh, you can't unhear what you heard. And you can't unlearn what you learned. We heard it. We learned it. Processed it. We digested it. We digested that. All right. So after a long sidebar, Agnifilio says, let me get him. So he goes to go get Diddy and brings him back into the courtroom. Because while they were on this long sidebar, Diddy left out the courtroom. All right. So now the judge tells Miss Slavic, that's the AUSA who's doing all this questioning. What was the purpose of getting into that? So Slavic says they are questioning the investigation. So we're entitled to ask this. So the judge says, when I heard the questions, I assumed they were going to be line of cross-examination about the fingerprint cards, like about the DNA. But that does not appear to be the case. So I'm thinking of telling the jurors to disregard. Agnifilio says this is outrageous. Agnifilio goes on to say, we are considering what remedies to ask for. Let me speak with my colleagues. They implied that someone in this courtroom was responsible for the destruction of the fingerprint cards. So Slavic says they intended to attack the investigation, which is true. Because remember, I told y'all that they were going back and forth about this guy's testimony and what can and can't be asked of him. And they were trying to go after the testimony. And what you guys are getting right now is the sidebar conversation that we don't get when we're in the courtroom. Okay, let's continue. So they come back. And the judge said, my intention is to strike from the record any testimony about fingerprint cards and the destruction of them. I will note that the only answers were what the witness knew about the destruction. I sustained the objection to if it was normal. So now Alexander Shapiro. For a mistrial at this time based on the prosecutorial misconduct that has occurred. Some prospective jurors said Mr. Combs could buy his way out. This type of conspiracy is out there and brought this into it. This is the second time that they've tried to move for a mistrial. Some prospective jurors said Mr. Combs could buy his way out. This type of conspiracy is out there, and this brought into it. They're blaming the prosecution of misconduct, and they're saying that there are jurors that have a conspiracy into the fact that y'all want to say that this no crimes here. Y'all are out in the media screaming that out loud, and people are buying into that. So what the hell are you talking about? They are consistently, this is the same. Brian Steele tried to get a mistrial. Now Shapiro is trying to get a mistrial. This is what I'm telling you. You got to watch this defense. Okay? They're trying to do any and everything. They're being paid to get Diddy off, not get Diddy a deal. I'm telling y'all. Okay? So Shapiro goes on and says they should have ended when the fingerprints were destroyed. Asked, did he authorize it? There's no way to unring this bell. The only proper remedy here is mistrial. So Slavic says that's absolutely unwarranted. Absolutely unwarranted. So now Slavic says it was Mr. Agnifilio who wanted to inquire into DNA into the investigation. Your Honor can just say that the jurors should not draw any interference from the destruction of the fingerprint cards. So the judge says application for mistrial denied. Denied. Second time they've asked for a mistrial. This time it was it was Shapiro. First time it was Brian Steele. And remember, the defense is still trying to get they are really trying to stack the deck. And now I am seeing that if you are a weak DA, These lawyers right here will chew you up and spit you out because they will pull all types of games. And the fact that this judge is very sharp and very wise to the games that this defense team plays, that's why he's on top of all of this. Now I see how they're able to get a lot of people off the way that they do with the games that they're playing. They are good lawyers, but they're good at throwing smoke and mirrors. That's what it is. So as of right now, this is where they are, according to what I see from Inner City Press, they're still at a sidebar. I know they usually go to lunch around noon and they come back at 1 o'clock. So this is what's going on right now. Diddy did the diddling of the diddled. Nate, where do y'all come up with this? Yeah, because he still talked to Angus, or what his name is. Brian is the king of mistrial. They're already trying to get mistrial. They are trying their hardest to get mistrial, and it's not happening. The judge is not having it. He's not having it. This woman right here ate him up yesterday. She ate him up yesterday. Diddy has been getting ate up by the people. This woman right here started it all. Now, as far as Cassie, yes, yesterday I haven't seen updates. It just says that she was rushed to the labor and delivery unit in New York City's hospital, in one of New York City's hospitals 2 weeks ahead of time. And they're saying that it was to give birth, but I haven't seen anything that says that she has given birth. Now, you can have a child. You can go into labor 2 weeks before your due date or 2 weeks after your due date. So the fact that she's in labor right now, if she's in labor, she could be having Braxton Hicks. It could be anything. When you're that far along and you're pregnant, when you're pregnant, period, you go to the labor and delivery unit. So let's hope that she's not having her baby prematurely. Let's send prayers that, she has a good delivery with no complications. At the end of the day, the defense is trying to bring Cassie back too. This is something that they have been out today that Nash is testifying to, and this is according to the conversations that go on before the jury comes into court. And they're saying that, it can't testify. Nash can't testify to Cassie's mindset because it was apparently her birthday and she didn't want to do a freak off, and she sent the text message to this person, Nash. And so they want they're trying to get what her mindset was. And so the defense is saying this is why we wanted to recall her back in. But this woman is having a baby. She's having a baby. You should have asked all of these questions when you had her up there for almost 4 days. Well, you might as well say 4 days. You had her up there for a whole extra day. She was there. She was only supposed to be there for 3 days. She ended up rolling into a 4th day. She gave you what she could give you. Leave her be and let her have her baby and go on with her life and put this all behind her. But to keep calling her back, so now you want to try to subpoena her to come back into court? What? Holding her baby and breastfeeding on the stand? Do you want to do that to yourself next? Or is it that you're trying to recall her back to the stand because she's already come in there big and pregnant, okay? And that's the picture that everybody has in their mind, is Cassie big and pregnant on the stand, telling all of these horrific things that were going on behind the scenes with her and Diddy. Now you want her to come back into court unpregnant to try to put a visual in front of the jury so they're not left with the visual of her being big and pregnant sitting on the stand. I see what they trying to do. No names in the chat. Oh, you don't do names in the chat. We don't. And the reason why we don't do names in the chat is because people like to take an innocent comment and twist it and make it something that it wasn't. And then it starts content creator beef. And I don't have no beef with nobody. I have no beef, no smoke with no one. I have no issues with no one. I'm all about moving forward. Everybody head down working because Black media is excellent. We are excellent. Everybody is excellent. And there's a part of the media, you're doing a great job. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, green, yellow, orange, red with purple dots on you. You're doing an amazing job, especially if you are down there covering this trial. Because let me explain something to you about this trial. It is dark. It is nasty energy. When Capricorn gave her testimony yesterday, when I tell y'all I came in this house and I was so drained, I had every intention of coming in here and taking a nap and then getting up about 7 to 8 o'clock and giving y'all the update in its entirety from all of my notes from beginning to end, from prosecution to defense, because baby, I took it all. Okay. I had every intention of doing that. However, I felt so heavy. I felt so heavy, like all the energy had just been sucked out of me. And I just could not. I had to go and lay down. So that's where I was yesterday. And I just crashed and I slept. And I got up at 3 o'clock this morning. I decided to go live. I went live this morning and gave y'all the updates from my notes that I didn't get to give you. And then today I said I was going to be a little quiet, but I am going to spend the day with peanut butter and just relax, because even now as we speak, like my feet are swollen, my body hurts. Like I'm really sore in my whole midsection from hacking and coughing. I really am. So I'm just going to like take it easy today. And I have to make a decision as to whether or not I'm staying or if I'm going to go home and just come back at the end of the trial. But for right now, this is where I'm at. You know, I really would love to be there because I wanted to know who Mia was. Because, you know, we've been talking about Mia. I've been talking about Mia. I have not talked about Mia. I talked about Mia. Go watch my Jane Doe video. And you'll see I brought up Mia in there. I've asked y'all about who Mia was several times. Mia is testifying today. So imagine how I feel not being at the court to catch that. But I'm still going to catch it because I still do the job. Why? Because this is who I am. This is what I do. There is off. There is no days off. There is no stop. I can't take a whole day and be quiet when court is in session. Oh, you need rest and elevate your feet. Truly, you have to take care of yourself. I am. It's going to rain the rest of the week. I just can't believe how many times he just kept on kicking her and wouldn't stop and no one stopped him. I can't stop thinking about that. This is what I'm saying. When I tell y'all Capricorn Clark destroyed Diddy, that is not an understatement. That is not an overstatement. That's a fact. This woman came in there. She understood the assignment and she came in and she delivered it yesterday. Okay. She brought the emotion into it. Okay, if you thought Cassie brought the emotion into it, she brought the emotion into it of being, Cassie gave you the emotion of being the person receiving, on the receiving end of things. She gave you the emotion of actually watching it. The way she described walking, Diddy putting her out, and because she had no vehicle, she didn't drive there. He took her from her home. He took her from her home in the wee hours of the morning to go break into Kid Cudi's house. She had nothing with her. She had no purse. And you got to think, back then, we didn't have Uber and Lyft. You had to call the taxi to come and get you. Well, she had a phone because she said she called. She had no money on her. That's what to say. She had no money on her. She just got dressed and left the house. Diddy had a telling her, let's go. You're going with me. I don't care what you want. So she described walking away and hearing him stomp on Cassie as she walked up the street. That goes in my mind. That sits with me. You're right, Xavier. A lot of people are saying that he's got to fight for his life, but Cassie was fighting for her life every day. Are you wearing a mask? No, I don't have on a mask. Are you talking about in the court? you know I have slow moments. I was there with them that night. You was there with them what night, Gloria? Yes, it hurt my heart for the ladies. Hey, Heidi B. Thank you, thank you. They got to get this monster off the streets. I read that. What's the legal definition of sex trafficking, Henny? Oh, you want that? Hold on, I got it for you. You want the legal definition of sex trafficking? I just went over this earlier this morning. Hold on. Now, let me ask you this before I answer this. Are you asking for yourself? Okay, so sex trafficking is one of the predicate offenses, because remember, I did a live on the predicate offenses, 35 predicate offenses of RICO. So it's one of the offenses under the RICO. And the definition of it is knowingly recruiting, inciting, harboring, transporting, providing, obtains, or maintains a person. So it's not just recruiting, it's not just enticing, it's harboring a person, it's transporting a person, it's providing a person. Knowing or acting in reckless disregard for that person will be caused to endanger in a commercial sex act. Commercial sex is not what you think it is. Commercial sex is not, is this the book? That's not the book. Hold on a second. Peanut butter, can you give me that notebook from out of there? Yes. Can you bring me my notebook from out of there? Thank you. So, commercial sex act is not about being on TV. Commercial sex act is when you exchange anything for value for a sexual act. So, exchanging money, that's commercial sex. Exchanging jewelry comes down to sexting. Okay, so it's done by force, fraud, or coercion, or is under 18 years old. And a commercial sex act means any act in exchange for something of value like money, drugs, career favors, and shelters. How this aligns up with Diddy is because he made travel arrangements, hotels, and transported. And the transportations were coordinated by his staff and his company, which speaks to the level of enterprise. Okay. Cassie and Jane were flown across state lines for the purposes of participating in freak offs, which were second. They were also recruited. Cassie can be considered as being recruited under the guise of music opportunities, luxury events, and lifestyle changes. So when you speak, I'm frozen. Am I frozen? Hey, Sherm. Hey, Sherm. Okay. So did y'all catch that? Did you catch that? Cassie was subjected to violence, drugging, and psychological manipulation to ensure participation in these freak-offs. Some were kept under control. She was kept under control through fear, dependency on him, or threats to her career. The sex acts were coerced in exchange for housing, money, drugs, or protection, and her lifestyle. Not only that, you have to remember what consent is. According to the law, not social norms, according to the law, being high out of her mind the way that she was not able to legally consent. So that makes it, because of the drugs, that made it non-consensual. Regardless to whether she said yes or no, the law says that if you are not clean and sober-minded, you cannot consent. You cannot consent if you are sleeping. I went over that. And the enterprise involvement in the trafficking part of all of it is, it wasn't isolated. It was part of the organization's efforts to connected to Combs' enterprise and bad boy staff, as well as personal support, security team. Because it involved multiple people and lasted over a decade and crossed state lines, it forms a pattern of racketeering underneath the RICO. Yeah. So where's the RICO? Right there. Now, a lot of y'all think that sex trafficking is about pimping and abducting someone, and that's not what it's about. It's about manipulating someone into sex in exchange for something. And you heard from Capricorn yesterday, when they were on good terms, Cassie would get top tier. She would get top tier producers, top tier featured artists, top tier hair and makeup artists and stylists and all of that. When they was beefing, she wasn't getting nada. He would take it all away. He controlled Cassie's housing, what she drove, her cell phone, her income. He afforded it. And in order to keep the lifestyle and keep the career, she had to keep going to these freak offs. She had to keep him happy with the things that he liked, the things that he wanted. So again, where's the RICO? Because his staff was going and setting up these rooms for these freak offs. Because his staff was purchasing and giving him the drugs for these freak offs. Because the staff was going in and setting up and cleaning up after the freak offs. Because staff witnessed him brutally beat Cassie into submission. Because of all of that, because his team stood by, his security team stood by, his personal assistant stood by, employees stood by and watched it and did nothing and stayed quiet to protect him and the business, that's where the RICO play. Because they're moving in the greater interest of business and Diddy. That's a RICO. People don't like it, but it's the facts. It's the truth. Go look it up. Spend some time looking some things up and taking notes. Taking notes. Taking notes. Studying to show yourself approved. Studying. These are the 35 predicate acts. You see this? 35 predicate offenses of a RICO. You see that? You see that? I didn't just look at it. I wrote it down. Sex trafficking, right here. Do you see this? I'm writing it down. I'm writing it down. I'm writing it down. So when I tell you that I'm looking into stuff, I'm looking into it so I know what I'm talking about. Enough is enough. It has to come to an end at some point in time. And it's not just with Diddy, it's the people who taught Diddy this. It's the way that the music industry in Hollywood has been running for years. Like, it's time to come to an end. FYI, prostitution is a crime, except in 10 countries, except in 10 counties of Nevada, not Las Vegas or Reno, only counties under 700,000 people. This is what I'm saying. Prostitution is definitely a crime, and it is RICO chargeable. It's crazy. It's crazy. But the fact that they're moving for a mistrial, this is the second time they have tried to move for a mistrial. It's mind boggling. Like, do you really think it's going to be that easy? They just keep pressing for it. So now let's see what's going on. All right. So the judge says, I sustain the objection when raised. The jurors have already been told that questions are not evidence. Shapiro says, Your Honor should tell the jury that the questions were improper. So Slavic says they weren't improper. You could say disregard both. So Shapiro says, Will the court tell the jurors that the answers are not to be considered? The judge says, I'll tell them that the questions and answers on the fingerprints are irrelevant to this case and not to be considered. So Shapiro says, Thank you, Your Honor. All, and then he says, all, they say, all rise. And the jury comes back. They sent the jury out. So at the end of the day, it's like, okay, so the fingerprint cards are out now, but y'all were going to ask about it. The freaking defense was going to ask about it. And you know what this is about? This is about them throwing temper tantrums because the prosecution beat them to it. But I say that that was a good move by the prosecution because the prosecution was saying questioning the fire arson investigator about fingerprints is beyond the scope of his responsibilities. Okay. So what they basically did was got the defense to throw out what they were going to do in the first place. Touche, ladies. I see you. I see you. I see you. Because they were just arguing that the defense was arguing that they were going to ask him about the fingerprints. And the prosecution, the government, they were saying that's irrelevant. Why would you be asking the arson guy, investigator, about fingerprints? And so the prosecution decided to beat them to the punch, ask him about fingerprint cards, and now it's thrown out. And guess what? They better not ask about fingerprints because you just got it thrown out for the prosecution. So I think, touche, ladies, touche. They ate. They ate with that one. They ate with that one. It was a chance. It was a risk, but they ate with that one. Hey, Capricorn Chronicles. Is it just me or is Henny going in and out? What do you mean? How am I going? Is this better? Do you want me to talk like this? Is this better? Am I in? Do I have to be quiet and talk with the microphone right here? Is that better? Like, I'm not being funny. I'm being for real. Hey, positive vibes. I'm not connected to Wi-Fi. I don't have Wi-Fi, you guys, right now. If I hold it like this, it sounds better. Gotta be coming in and out. I hear you fine, Henny. Okay. I don't know. Okay, let's continue. So the judge instructs the jury that the question and answers on fingerprints are irrelevant to the case and are not to be considered by them and to please proceed. So Slavic goes on to say, did you interview the owner of the Porsche? Jimenez says, Scott Muscuddy. Slavic says, did you reach out to others? Jimenez says, I reached out to an assistant. Her name is Capricorn. So Agnafilio goes, I'm going to object. So the judge says, rephrase the question. So Slavic says, who did you reach out to? So Jimenez says, Capricorn, Cassie, Ventura. So Slavic says, did Capricorn respond or assist? Jimenez says, no. Slavic says, how did you reach out to Cassie? Jimenez says, wasn't able by phone, tried through a family member. Slavic says, did you reach her? Jimenez says, never. Slavic says, were charges brought? Jimenez says, no, but I never closed the case. It's listed as inactive. Nothing further. So the arson case is still open. It's still an open investigation. He never closed it. It's just inactive, which means that at any point in time, the case can be brought back up. And now with all of this stuff coming out in court, oh, baby. I smell an investigation being reopened. Do y'all see an investigation being reopened? I see an investigation being reopened. Let's get to it. No third option, Sherm. No third option on this question. It's yes or no. Y'all answer the poll down below. Will Jimenez reopen the arson investigation? There was a why back to the DNA? Why we back to the DNA, Agnifilio? So Jimenez says, yes. Agnifilio says, do you remember when the results came back? Jimenez says maybe 6 months. Agnifilo says the test on the bottle, it was important. Jimenez says yes. Agnifilo says, what does it mean partial DNA female? Jimenez says, I have no idea. I was told if we had a suspect, we could test it again. Agnifilo, any other DNA on the bottle? AUSA, objection. Judge says rephrase. So Agnifilo says, just for the witness. He shows him, I guess, a piece of evidence. And so he says, that's a glove, right? So Jimenez says, yes. Agnifilo says, did you find another glove? Jimenez says, no. Agnifilo goes, did you test the glove for DNA? Jimenez says, no. I understood it to belong to the owner. It was a driving glove. So Agnifilo goes, your premise was that the Molotov cocktail was dropped. Did you think the person who dropped it would have worn a glove? Jimenez says, perhaps. Agnifilo goes, it would have been hot. Jimenez says, only the wick. Agnifilo, you are getting your ass handed to you. Okay, left and right. He is a weak defense attorney, if you ask me, because he has just testified to the fact that, yes, there was a glove there also, but that the glove belonged to Scott Muscudi, Kid Cudi. That was his driving glove. He drove a Porsche. Kid Cudi is a bit of a rock star. I can see him driving a Porsche with driving gloves on. So if it's his glove, why the hell would they DNA test it? Agnifilo is trying to say that whoever it was that did it had to wear a glove. And the arson inspector is saying no, because only the wick would be hot. The bottle wouldn't be hot yet. Normally, when people do Molotov cocktails, they light the wick, they hold on to the wick, and then what they do is throw it and it crashes. And because there is an explosive like gasoline inside the bottle, when the bottle breaks, everything ignites and catches fire. But they dropped it in the car. They didn't break the glass. So what was supposed to happen was the scarf was supposed to catch fire and burn down. And when that gasoline was touched by the fire from the wick, the car was supposed to explode. But they were able to get to it prior to, so the car just caught fire. It didn't explode. Okay. And then here you go right underneath it. You've got people who are ignorant to this line of questioning saying, didn't test the only glove at the crime scene. It was my understanding. Nah, not getting him in the arson thus far. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Why would you test the driver's glove? To see if the driver did it himself? Right. He's going to blow up his Porsche. He's going to blow up his own Porsche and raise his car insurance. Right. So this is where we are right now. So the defense is now on the DNA, and I'm quite sure that they're happier than a pig in slop. They didn't like the fact that it was brought into play that the DNA had been destroyed. The DNA cards had been destroyed. So now they can't test the DNA. They can't say who the female DNA belonged to. They have no idea what happened. Thank you, Diana. Or Diane. I'm sorry, Diane. No, fingerprint cards aren't missing, Wonder Woman. They were destroyed. In 2012, they were destroyed. Now, remember, the attempted bombing of Kid Cudi's car happened in January of 2012. So it wasn't even a year later. Tapping that screen, get the likes up, get the likes up, get them likes up, honey. Get the likes. It's not common. Let me just say this. It's not common for people to wear gloves unless they're trying to conceal their DNA. Who else would have the money, power, or the prestige to be able to get the DNA cards destroyed? And even though they're telling the jury, this is what I don't like. They keep telling the jury to disregard this and disregard that. The jury are human beings just like us. And guess what? We ain't disregarding nothing. The jury may have to, but we, the people, we don't have to disregard a damn thing. And I believe that he did have ties into the LAPD. And the reason why I say I believe he had ties into LAPD is because when they found out that it was a bad boy vehicle that was at the scene of someone from Bad Boy, well, then again, they didn't mention his name. So either way, why wouldn't you then go to question somebody about what they possibly saw or why they were in that area? Once you found out who they were and once you established that there was a crime that was committed at that address and a bad boy vehicle is in the area. That's exactly the illusion that they give us, beauty queen. I'm saying illusion because if Diddy walks off of this is going to be like, that's going to be major. If he walks away from this, it's going to be major. Y'all know that, right? And they asked this of the arson investigator. They didn't ask this of the LAPD. If he walks away, it will be a disaster. I agree. I think they are keeping some aces up their sleeves, more possible state charges. That's a possibility. So all of these would have to teach him a lesson by messing with, I think, old money. Y'all go watch that Diageo video that I did because I brought the paperwork into it. I read the paperwork and the case and everything. I did a deep dive into all of that. Y'all go watch that. Like, just go peruse through my channel. You know, I know y'all love to get the lives, but when I'm not live, there is information that you guys can catch up on. I've covered a lot of the cases that he had brought up against him. I have gone into that liquor company. I've gone into theirs too. And I do feel like that's old money. I don't think he's getting off on all those charges. I don't either. Um, he's going to run out of countries like Russell and have the rest of the celebrities. He should listen. I don't know if Russell Simmons invited him to come out there to Bali with him, but maybe he should have gone. Yes, that's what made the old money when how it started, in my opinion. Yeah, so let's check and see what else they have come back with because he is still on the stand. All right, so Agnifilio goes on to say the damage, it's on both sides of the bottle, right? Jimenez says, looks like it. Agnifilio says, did Mr. Muscudi have more than one Porsche? Jimenez says, I think he had a second one in the garage. Agnifilio, why isn't it in your report? Jimenez says it was not involved. What does his second Porsche have to do with anything? Usher has not been brought up. Neither has Justin Bieber. And that's one of the things that I was talking about this morning is that there's a lot of things that's out there that we've heard about that's not being brought up in this case. And if it's not being brought up in the case, I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to confuse what's going on with the trial with the rumors that are going on out there or other things that have happened that he's not being charged with. We have to focus on what he's being charged with first before we can get into all the rumor and speculation and things that have been said. You know, Usher saying that he went to the camp and all of that, and he would not send his kids to Flavor Camp, to Diddy's house, or any of that. Justin Bieber behaving weirdly and all of that. We can talk about that all day long, but that's not a part of this case. So I don't want to start mixing that with this. He don't want him in Bali. We don't want him in Bali. We want him to rot in jail in America. Who, Maureen? You don't want Diddy or you don't want Russell Simmons or both? Okay. So Agnophilia goes, your premise was that the Molotov cocktail was dropped. Did you think the person who dropped it would have worn a glove? Jimenez says perhaps. Agnophilia says it would have been hot. Jimenez says only the wick. We read that already. Okay, so the last question that was asked or that was posted is about his second Porsche. Oh, I'm getting late notifications. That's what it is. Okay, so we'll give it a few minutes to see. Send Diddy to the Ukraine. Send Diddy to El Salvador. No, Usher will not testify. He hasn't been brought up. The names that have been brought up in this case consistently have been people that what they're trying to do here is prove RICO and sex trafficking and um transportation to engage in prostitution. Those are the charges that they are trying to prove right now. So at this point in time, the unalivings and all of that stuff have not been brought into play, which I'm surprised, but I guess they don't have any solid concrete evidence of any of that. We're just going to have to wait and see how this plays out because the prosecution is still calling their witnesses. The defense has not called their witnesses because the prosecution has not rested. So we're going to see where this actually takes a turn and goes because there's still more people. They still have Mia and somebody by the name of Nash that's going to be testifying this afternoon as well. I am interested in hearing what they have to say because I know that this is going to be big for them to to testify. So I'll be back later on this afternoon. And when I come back, I might have peanut butter with me on screen. We are going to be trying that plate that everybody is talking about. What is it called? What is it called? The Jennifer plate, the what is it called? Tiffany plate. We're going to be trying a Tiffany plate. Henny glasses in the chat if y'all have heard of a Tiffany plate. The Tiffany plate has hard-boiled eggs, applewood chicken sausage. It has strawberries and grapes and pickled onions and cucumbers and broccoli and cottage cheese and mustard. And you dip it into it, and it's supposed to enhance the flavors of whatever it is that you're eating. We're going to try it, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to talk to y'all about the case. Maybe we'll kick it and see what she thinks about the case. I don't know. We might do that on TikTok. Yeah, I said what the helly too, but I see people are eating it, so we're gonna try it and see what's what. We're gonna try it and see what's what. She agreed to try. Oh, name it after me. You know, anything Tiffany is top notch. Some people are saying they don't like it. I've never had heart of palm before. So we're gonna try it. We're gonna try it. Now let me see if they put anything else because it's 12 o'clock. So they're probably getting ready to go to lunch. Okay. So Agnifilio asked if Jimenez was able to reach Capricorn Clark or Cassie Ventura, and when did he reach out to them? Jimenez says within the first few weeks. Agnifilio says, are you sure? Tell us everything about these calls. Jimenez says, I believe Capricorn's brother answered and we disagreed. Shit sounds like bubble guts in a fancy way. Heart of palm is a good vegan seafood substitute. Yeah, I heard it smells like fish. I don't know. Does anyone know if the lady who was shot in the face at the club will testify? She has said many times that although someone else took the blame for the shooting, she saw Diddy with the gun. I have no idea if she's going to testify. Agnifilio says, and once Mr. Muscudi told you it was his glove, you didn't investigate the glove anymore, correct? Jimenez said, I did not. Agnifilio says nothing further. The judge asks redirect. So AUSA Slavic says, when did you speak with Mr. Muscudi? Jimenez says the same thing, says the same day, and AUSA says nothing further. So now I'm going to assume that they are going to break for lunch now. And that is your morning catch up. Okay. I will be back this afternoon when court is over to give y'all a recap of everything. But thank y'all so much for tapping in. This has been awesome. Make sure that you guys double tap that screen. Let me close this last poll out. 76% of you said that yes, you believe that Jimenez will reopen the arson investigation. 24% of y'all said no. So in the next one, I'll do another poll. But this has been awesome. I enjoy doing these updates with you guys. Thank you for all of your continued support. Thank you for all of the gifts. Thank you for the floating heart. Thank you for all of the cash apps. If you guys would like to send to my cash app is Jupiter Juju 8. Anything that you guys send would be greatly appreciated because yes, fan funding is important when you're state that you're, you no longer living and you're trying to make it. ha, 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 staying alive, staying alive. Anyway, if you're on the replay, let me know what you think down in the comment section. Who do you think won the morning session? I think the prosecution won the morning session, and I think they gave them the poof, 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 the old 1-2. But thank you so much for tapping in and checking in with your girl. Be sure to follow me on all platforms. Hennessy Reviews on IG and Hennessy Reviews on TikTok. Yes, I am still in New York. I did do a TikTok live yesterday, giving you guys an update over there. Instagram, I try to pop in over there as much I can, but YouTube is really consuming me, to be honest with y'all. But y'all, high vibes to the rest of y'all day. If y'all are going to lunch, enjoy your lunch. If you're at dinner, enjoy your dinner. If you're at breakfast, enjoy your breakfast. And I will see y'all in the next video. Peace, everybody. Behave.